And for more on this, let's bring in Jonathan Fahey, a former federal prosecutor, former acting ICE director, and former DHS Deputy Assistant Secretary. Long story short, he's the guy to talk to about this. I want to get right into the dissent. 3 conservative justices dissented, and I want to read a portion of Samuel Alito's dissent. It reads, quote, "Whatever one may think about the current administration's enforcement of the immigration laws or the way ICE has conducted its operations, the protection of federal officers from potentially lethal attacks should not be thwarted." Now, we just saw ICE agents get attacked in Maryland yesterday. Your reaction to this ruling from the Supreme Court?
Well, I think Justice Alito's dissent is pretty interesting because he's more in the camp of defer to the executive branch when you do some things. This is a setback, but I don't think that they should be popping champagne bottles in Chicago or Illinois about this, because if you think about it, this really broke down to how they defined regular forces. The other thing President Trump could do, and he hasn't done yet, and he will get backing from the courts if he decides to do so, is invoke the Insurrection Act, which allows him to deploy the military if it's impractical to enforce federal law. And here's why this is important for Illinois and Chicago in particular. Both Illinois state law and Chicago have passed laws and ordinances restricting areas, not allowing ICE into certain areas, which is really saying we are sovereign from federal law in these areas, which can't be allowed to stand. So if President Trump wants to invoke the Insurrection Act with respect to that, he's on firm footing. But also the bigger picture is they have all this money and more resources for ICE, CBP to deploy more agents, to hire more agents. So they are going to be in Chicago removing the most serious criminals and other illegal aliens. And it is funny when you look at some of the results of this. Chicago is so much safer because of President Trump. And you think if J.B. Pritzker wasn't eyeing a presidential run, he would be on the phone this morning saying, "Merry Christmas and thank you for making Chicago safer, because we didn't know how to do it for years and you did it in a year." But instead, they are putting politics ahead of public safety. But the bottom line is Trump will not be thwarted in the immigration enforcement, and illegal aliens are going to be removed just like they were this year.
Yeah, the court essentially found that the situation is not chaotic enough to necessitate federalizing the National Guard, but we've seen ICE agents be targeted over and over and over again, including in these ramming attacks. I mentioned the one just yesterday in Maryland. Take a look at this staggering statistic. Car attacks on ICE agents are up 1,300% since President Donald Trump retook office. Is there a situation that you can foresee where it would be dangerous or chaotic enough where the court would say, okay, President Trump, it's fine for you to federalize the National Guard to carry out this federal immigration law?
Well, I think that in addition to the Insurrection Act, I think that could be the case, but I think it would be more in the case if, according to the way they define things, President Trump would have to have the military in there first and then followed by the National Guard. But again, another thing, that's just a quick point on this ruling, it's not a final ruling. It was just an effort for the Trump administration to stay the lower court ruling. So this will ultimately be decided on the full merits, probably by the Supreme Court. But it is staggering, the numbers you mentioned of the 1,300% increase, and we're just lucky none of these have become deadly and extremely deadly. And I think a lot of these are being caused by the rhetoric. A lot of these Democratic politicians, you have J.B. Pritzker, which is a regular occurrence to compare ICE agents to Nazis. Governor Walz, I think it was yesterday or the day before, compared immigration enforcement to white supremacy. So anyone involved in enforcing immigration laws, he equates to an white supremacist. But I think what's important is these people that are doing this, ramming ICE agents, they're going to be arrested, they're going to be imprisoned, and that's going to be a good example. And you saw with that Wisconsin judge, I think it was last week, getting convicted. Once they get convicted, the Democratic politicians head for the hills. Nobody was backing her after the conviction. They were all in her camp beforehand. So a lot of these people that maybe think we're going to become a hero within the Democratic Party and the mainstream media are going to be disappointed when they go to club. They're not going to go to Club Fed. They're going to go to a serious pen, and it's not going to be pretty for them. And they're going to say, where are all my friends? And they're not going to be there. But the number of attacks is staggering. It's awful. It needs to stop.
Of course it is. Yeah, the Trump administration, trying to get the people who are here illegally out of the country, but they've also just shut down the border virtually. However, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett isn't buying it. Listen to this.
I will acknowledge that what is being reported is that border encounters are lower. I will also say that we know that this administration has not been the most honest when it comes to reporting numbers. What I can tell you is that he has invoked a very inhumane way of carrying out immigration.
So I was down at the border several times, and we just saw massive crowds every single day. That's not happening anymore. What is she talking about?
She's completely wrong on multiple fronts. Yeah, you've been down there. Bill Malugion's been down there, and it was chaos, and now there's nothing to do there. And the other thing that's really, I know she's just all politics all the time, but what's really inherently dishonest about what she's saying is saying the Trump administration has been inhumane. What other law in the history of the country do you get to violate and get $3,000 in your pocket just to stop violating it? So the Trump administration has done this the most humane way, the most fairest way, but this is all the result of this Biden-Mayorkas open borders mass amnesty scheme, and President Trump is just trying to get back to where we were beforehand, and they created this, the Democratic Party, but everything he's been doing has been fair, targeting criminals and making it easy for people to self-deport and do it with a little money in their pocket. I can't think of anything that seems fair or more humane than doing that.
That's certainly a complicated issue, but certain things are just fact. And it's a fact that the border has essentially been shut down in the first year of President Trump back in the White House. Jonathan, thank you so much for your time. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.